The reports came out during the Pro Bowl about Jaylen Herz, and there's some really important things here that are going to change within the front office. The Super Bowl is over with. It's the off season for every team, and the Eagles have a lot to do, and this is going to be a crazy off season. So here is the news from that, and what really impressed me about the Kansas City Chiefs, and I think the Eagles should take something out of their playbook going forward. Not just play calling, but a lot further, a lot farther than that. So let's get into it.
Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yeah, what's going on, guys? I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. So a few things to go over here regarding Jaylen Herz, the Philadelphia Eagles. There was reports coming out from Mike Garofalo from the Eagles front office that they want Jaylen Herz to be more vocal. And I think starting out how they wanted Hertz to. It's hard for me to say this because I feel like Hertz was not allowed to do much of anything. And when things don't change, how can you take yourself as a leader or think you can lead a team when you're going to be fed nonsense every week about changes being made to the offense, changes being made to the defense, being promised all of these things, and then them asking you to go out there, show your personality, and to be a leader? Okay, you meet your quarterback every single week. Okay, Nick Sirianni and Jaylen Hertz have these meetings every week, and you're saying to yourself, okay, well, are these leaks true that came out? Because I could surely believe that these leaks that came out maybe like a month ago, a few weeks ago, that the disconnect between Jaylen Hertz and Brian Johnson, Jaylen Hertz and Nick Sirianni, Jaylen Hertz saying, hey, you know what? We need to change some of the play calling offensively. We need to use more intermediate passes. We need to open up the middle of the field. And Nick Sirianni just ignored it. Pretty much. Those were the leaks that came out. And it shows that the Eagles did not change anything within their offense, okay, at all. Okay, we'll talk about it. We can talk about defense. We can talk about offense. It doesn't matter because there hasn't been any changes. You haven't set up your players to be successful. You can't get your players open in the offense. Your substitutions, your audibles at the line from pass, from run to pass, your decision making, and part of the route combinations that have set up Jaylen Hertz to fail of having a big regressive year this year, regressing as in this being the regressing year, and then going into next year with competent coaches, coordinators that have more control and doing a lot better. Okay. So this is what was said by Mike Garofalo going forward. I kind of want to read this quick so you guys have an idea of what was said. Now it says, there are things that were once said that made me great to make me special leader, impacting, uplifting my guy that maybe one may find an issue now. Hertz said, when asked if he needed to be more assertive in public fashion. Hertz also hit on the real reason behind all of this. When the Eagles were winning, his understated personality wasn't an issue. When they started losing, many started grasping at straws while trying to stop the bleeding. And then says, he's open to these conversations. He's already been having those conversations. Garofalo said of Hertz, the Eagles wanted him and the people around him did as well to show his personality when he was down at the Pro Bowl. They feel like that was a good step forward. So if Hertz was this quiet when they were winning, I don't know. Is he vocally at practice? I know he's vocal after games. I know he's very vocal on game day. So how much more are they asking of him? And I definitely saw the mic'd up moments during the Pro Bowl, and Hertz was doing the one thing I really wanted him, that he hasn't really done in a while, since a lot of Eagles players haven't done in a while, was he was smiling. He was having a good time. Like, it was nice just to see him. It wasn't a real game. It was just like fun and games at the Pro Bowl, and he was having fun with all these other guys, and it was nice to see that. And wants him to, I guess the Eagles want Jaylen Hertz to express himself more. And I don't think he was expressing himself much last year, because if they were winning, you don't want to overextend like your leadership to where keep everything the main thing, as Jaylen Hertz always said, okay? I don't know what happened last year when it came to Jaylen Hertz, if he was too quiet or whatnot. Game day he wasn't, and obviously post-game he was never quiet either. But when it comes down to it, is he not being vocal enough during the week? But if all these leaks were coming out and, I guess, I don't know. Does this make Jaylen Herz, did this kind of, did he go down a peg last year when it came, when it came down to, even when Hertz was winning, obviously the message was sent that they were doing a good job, or they could be playing better, or they could be more creative offensively. But whether Hertz says enough or doesn't say enough at all, I think a quarterback definitely has to speak up at times. But was it really that bad? Did Jaylen Hertz really not say much of anything last year? And then when they were losing, I guess it got worse. But I think once they started losing, and then these meetings between Jaylen Hertz and the coaching staff were going down every week on game plan and what to talk about, I think Hertz just shut down because things weren't changing and the coaches were not listening to the players. And I think that's what happened, because it was already enough that A.J. Brown didn't talk to the coaches, and a lot more players that did not say a word about the coaching staff. A lot of players kept it under their hat. A lot of players were losing faith in what Nick Sirianni was doing last year, and that's just the truth. I think they're putting it too much on Hertz to where they want him to be as vocal and every day. And, the coaches have to, he could be the biggest leader during the week, but if you don't have a set game plan for this quarterback, all this hype talk every week from Jaylen Hertz, all the hype talk from Nick Sirianni, making himself look stupid and more stupid every single week, it just makes it look like the biggest joke. And obviously, this is the biggest crumble in NFL history. One of the biggest crumbles, the biggest downfalls in Eagles history. And yeah, I can't put all of that on my quarterback. Oh, you need to be more of a leader. You need to be more vocal. And sure, quarterbacks should be vocal. But if the coaches aren't giving you the tools, or you have all the tools but don't know how to use them, okay, and it's making Hertz frustrated because they're not listening to him, what is all of him being more vocal is going to do? Yeah, be more vocal towards the coaching staff and make changes. That's where he should be more vocal. Yeah, Nick, like look, in 22, I should say. Okay, I think it was the Houston Texans game. I think it was 22, the Houston Texans game where we were passing the ball so much. Passing the ball way too much. And I remember it was a blindside fumble recovery by the Texans. We were down in their red zone. I remember that Jaylen Hertz ran over to Shane Steichen in 2 seconds, was like, dude, we need to run the football, like now. And that happened. And then we were fine. I didn't see none of that this year. I didn't see Hertz and Nick Sirianni exchange any words on the sideline. Barely. I mean, really barely. I haven't seen it. I mean, unless the cameras weren't looking at it, I don't know. I haven't seen any type of, they would walk by each other and that was it. And I think Hertz was frustrated. A lot of players were frustrated during the year. And yeah, being more vocal is a great thing, but I think what the front office is trying to do now is that they want Hertz to have more hands-on control of things. Not because he couldn't do it last year. It's because the coaching staff had too much control over him last year. And you want your franchise guy to have more control over things and what things need to be fixed. I think that's what they're doing. And that's a really good sign going to this year where Hertz is going to have a little bit more freedom vocally. And not saying big crazy decisions, but at least it goes in the right direction. That's where I'm thinking that all this goes to. Okay. So this is baitish because it makes it seem like, Hertz is not a vocal leader. I think that's a bunch of bullshit. I think there's more behind. I think this is more towards the coaching staff. Like this kid could be a vocal leader. This kid needs to have more freedom in doing things and making decisions and what needs to be fixed if things, aren't looking good in certain aspects of the game that need to be fixed and brought to the next game. And I think that's what they're doing. And that's not a bad thing at all. I think they just want Hertz this offseason to relax, clear his mind, go into this Pro Bowl, have a good time, be yourself, and bring that energy to the Philadelphia Eagles in 2024. I think that's what they were asking of Hertz. Not because he's in trouble or, they're reprimanding him like you need to. No, it's just they just want him to just reset Okay, while they're doing their thing, the coaching staff, the front office is doing their thing and doing what they need to do. Hertz just has to play and just be himself, and obviously have a good coaching staff that pushes him. That's behind him, and I think that's what we need right now. So sorry for that long rant, because I thought that was really important. And I think what's more important too is, yeah, you know what? Everything could look good on paper, but after watching Kelce and what they've done this year, I mean, to have an all-pro level elite quarterback and Patrick Mahomes that could do almost of everything. And when that team struggles, they have the resiliency to get back on top. The receivers that they've had, they don't have no bona fide big, number one guy. They can use Mecole Hardman. They can use Watson. Even the first couple Super Bowls that he won, Pringle and some of these other guys that they've had in the past, these other receivers that have been with Patrick Mahomes have went to other teams and have not been successful. It's really creativity with your coaching staff. Using a bona fide wide receiver and Pacheco as your running back, moving guys around in that matter. I mean, you could do so many different things. Raheem Rice is a perfect example on why the Eagles need to re-sign DeAndre Swift. James Cook, pass-catching running backs, put these guys in the passing game. I think that's what Kellen Moore is going to want to do with this offense, to not only excel your quarterback by every strand, but goddamn, with the offensive line you have, you're perfectly wasting top talent that's already here. That's hard enough to get as it is, okay? It's hard to have two bona fide number ones, and to have the trade for a running back that had over 1,000 yards, should have been the second best rusher, and DeAndre Swift, and it was disgusting. Mecole Hardman didn't even, he got signed, middle of the season? He got signed at the trade deadline, right? I don't know if he was a free agent, but I know he wasn't with that team in the beginning of the season. It's all about utilizing your players to perfection, and Kelce knows how to do that. And, Matt Nagy's a good coordinator, and, Eric Bieniemy's a good coordinator, and they've had the same DC for the past 5-6 seasons already. Okay, it helps to have the same coach in there, but you could switch coordinators, but Andy Reid makes sure that you keep the same context of what you do every single year. And when you get new players that have a specific skill set you could take advantage of, then you use that. And I feel like the Eagles can never do that. And I think with Kellen Moore, not bringing his new ideas to Nick Sirianni, like he's got to ask Sirianni, can I use this, please, sir? No, this is Kellen Moore coming here to literally change this offense. Nick's making it look like Kellen Moore's helping him, but no, Kellen Moore is taking over. That's the huge difference. Okay? That's a pure example, this Kansas City offense, a pure example of how they use their players, all the pre-snap motion, using your running backs as natural pass catchers. As another guy out there, that's a weapon, okay? Because Kenneth Gainwell is not going to be that guy. He does not fit Kellen Moore's offense. I think Gainwell is a waste to be in this backfield. You have the offensive line to get things done. Okay, and you have two bona fide receivers that are better than a lot of teams. But if the play calling is nothing, and you don't have your fundamentals right, and you don't have a guy that knows how to adjust with your offense or your defense, doesn't matter what it is, that's what's going to happen. And KC didn't have the most perfect game either. It was a back and forth game, no doubt. Really came down to turnovers. But, you make plays with your certain with playmakers, and, they don't have a Tyreek Hill there. They've done it without Tyreek Hill. They did it with Tyreek Hill. It doesn't matter. It's down to creativity with your offense. And that's, I think the only elite talent that you need to have in an offense like that with no weapons, I think you have to have an elite quarterback. You got to have an elite quarterback. And I think Jaylen Herz can be that. We've seen it before. Okay, I know it's a year-to-year league and things do change, but this past year was a fucking joke. It was a disaster. It was like almost as I was watching, Nick Sirianni didn't have coaches that could help change things for him. Too many young guys around him that had no experience, and I think that was one of the biggest problems. I think Nick got cocky. I think he got conceited after that Super Bowl, after losing in that Super Bowl, and figured, I can call the plays again. And losing Shane Steichen did nothing. Not did nothing, but losing Shane Steichen, he thought he was going to do absolutely nothing, that things were going to stay the same. You had a head coach that bases this team off, this team is based off of a passing game, a big, deep passing game with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, pass first, and fundamentals, and sound, and you're doing none of that. I mean, this year was like, is Nick even qualified to even be a head coach? Because I still think Kellen Moore is set up to be the head coach. I honestly do. Because if Kellen Moore gets successful in the next couple years, what are you going to do? You know what I mean? Then we're back to square one, because Andy Reid knows how to keep the same culture. Andy Reid knows how to keep and know the same play calling, or what fits Patrick Mahomes in the building with the players that he associates himself with. That's where it makes a difference. You're not putting everything on one coordinator. If you ever switch coordinators, the head coach, and I don't trust Nick Sirianni to, if Kellen Moore does well in 2 years, say he does well after 1 year, he becomes a head coach, and then what? And then Nick is going to be like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to call these plays, or you don't know what fits these players. And I mean, he doesn't even know the playbook. He doesn't know schematically. He doesn't know how to keep what's in the building as to what your offense is and what your identity is. I don't trust Nick for that at all. Andy Reid could do that. A lot of these other coaches could do that. Okay? But this guy can't do it. I don't believe that he can. Because I feel like if the Eagles lose the first 3 out of 4 games, I feel like there will be an early exit for Nick Sirianni. If it turns pretty friggin' bad, we'll see. But it's just the truth. This is a big offseason for Howie Roseman. Draft picks, potential trades for more draft capital, and the defense needs a retool badly at certain positions. Okay, we all know this. This is how, for me, I feel like if this is as big as a year for Nick, it's a big year for Howie Roseman to really, and I'm not saying he's never built great rosters, but at the same time, he's ignored certain positions and filled them up with mid to low tier talent. That's not even close to low tier talent with these 1-year deals. Okay. So hopefully for a good offseason, March free agency, we'll see what happens there. But Jason Kelce is another problem right now, to where, he's going to be making his decision within the next couple weeks. I'm already going to guess he's talked to the Eagles, and the Eagles already know what's going on. I mean, I don't think he'd stay this quiet. For the fans, he'll stay quiet. For the media and the public, he'll stay quiet. But for the Eagles organization, I don't see why the Eagles wouldn't have an idea. Okay, but if Kelce actually retires, then yeah, there's a whole thing. There's another aspect now, to where now there's a bunch of guards like Kevin Zeitler, second best pass blocker on PFF from the Baltimore Ravens, as a guard. I mean, it's another guy right here. That's a potential landing spot for the Philadelphia Eagles. Only allowed 1 QB hit. Will they actually pay a guard this year? I don't know. Is Tyler Steen ready? I don't think so. Okay, if they're going to do anything, and I'm not really sure what they're going to do, but, I mean, they still got to pay Landon Dickerson. Dickerson's about to get paid really soon. So this HaasonReddick stuff, everything that's going on with him, like, his money has got to go into other positions. Unfortunately, it's $16 million if you, cut him or whatever, which they'll probably trade and save a lot of money from a trade for HaasonReddick if you want to get rid of him. And you know what? It's like you're trading a soon-to-be 30-year-old defensive end that still has a few years left, has a lot of juice left on the table, no doubt. But at the end of the day, like, we have to put more money into other positions, and potentially, I don't know if guard's going to be that. Sua Opeta's a free agent. You lose your swing guard at both spots. Great player. Jack Driscoll, not a fantastic player, but he could fill in for right guard and right tackle if you really wanted him to. So that's a whole nother thing. So you're losing a lot of depth too. Tyler Steen might need another year. I'm not sure. Had a couple, a game of playing time, not much. But I'm not really sure what to say here. You don't have a backup left tackle. You don't have a backup guard. You don't have a backup right tackle. I think what they should actually do is, if Kelce does retire, okay, you're going to move Juergens into that center spot, and hopefully, okay, you sign Sua Opeta back. And I think you should at least try to cross-train Tyler Steen to right tackle if you can, because Lane Johnson's only here for another couple years, barely even that. So right guard and right tackle are going to be big holes for the future. And at to see what they do here. I don't know if they dip in the free agency. I don't know if they dip into a trade to go get a right guard. I just don't. They haven't done it in a while. They haven't, we haven't signed a big time free agent lineman since Brandon Brooks. I think 2016. It's been a long time. As long as I'm, I know they've drafted, with Jeff Stout in the building, I don't think you need to go out and get a free agent guard. But, does this change draft strategy? And damn, if Kelce retires, this first round pick might be a lineman at this point. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I mean, I don't think you have to go first round, but second, we'll see. But it should be interesting down the line what happens. But I'm not really into getting free agent linemen, to be honest, because we have to pay some of our own, and I think we'll have enough to do other things. But we'll see. Potentially, they could have $40 to $50 million in cap space. So we'll see what happens. But let me know what you guys think about Hertz being more vocal. The report that came out. Let me know on just my differences on just how similar and how great an offense could be. And I think the Kansas City Chiefs is a great example of taking something that doesn't have the best weapons and turning it into an elite force. With an elite quarterback is all you need, with weapons to, just the usage and creativity of your offense. I think that's great. So, and Kelce's retirement, what to do. It's going to be interesting. Going to be a crazy, crazy couple months, really. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Shakes what up, follow us on. Peace out, guys. Peace.